Recording in progress.
Okay, good afternoon and welcome to this Wednesday, June 7, 2023 regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Sequoia Union High School District. This is the opening of the meeting to hear any comments on any of the closed session items. Do we have any attendees in the Zoom audience wishing to comment on closed session items or any members of the public wishing to comment on closed session? Seeing nobody with a proposed comment, we will now recess to closed session and return at 6 p.m. Thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday, June 7, 2023 regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Sequoia Union High School District. We open the meeting at 5 p.m. to hear any comment on closed session items, and then we recess to closed session. We now return to the open session and have our roll call.
Student Trustee Rodriguez Velasquez. Student Trustee Swaminathan. I think she's on her way. Trustee Nori. Here. Trustee Koo. Here. Trustee Dubois. Here. Vice President Stevenson. Here. President Ginn.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Okay, thank you. The next item is approval of the agenda. Does any board member or the superintendent have any comments about anything on tonight's agenda for change? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I second.
Okay, all in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
Okay, unanimously approved the agenda. Okay, the next item is a report out on our closed session. During the closed session, even though Superintendent Leach has been in the position just since April 1st, it's a requirement of her contract that we conduct an evaluation. And we did conduct the evaluation and found her performance to be satisfactory. It's a legal requirement that we report that in open session. And so there it is. I want to thank Superintendent Leach for her service for these first few months, and we're hitting the ground running and excited to have her in the role. Next, we have special recognitions.
Okay, so we do have two tonight, both very, very special. We are going to start with recognizing Sequoia District student interns who assisted with the Student Action Research Project. The Sequoia Union High School District MTSS team and Stanford Gardner Center partnered to bring this project to the district. The goal of this project was to elevate student voice with student-led research, looking into students' perspectives in their social emotional learning needs. I would like to introduce MTSS coordinator Shana Kesh. How do you say her last? Kajima. She knows she's one of my favorites. A little more details and introduce these amazing students and their mentors who are here with us tonight.
Thank you. Good evening, Board President Ginn, trustees, and Superintendent Leach. It is my great honor, and I see some of them on the Zoom. It is my great honor to present this recognition to the amazing Student Action Research Project interns here today. And some of them are in the audience, which it's nice to see. As Superintendent Leach shared, in the middle of the school year, my team explored the opportunity to build our partnership with Stanford Gardner Center, seek out ways to elevate student voice in our district, and to contribute to our efforts in building our district social emotional learning practices. So these 8 special students went through a nomination process, application process, and interview process with Stanford Gardner Center mentors, and were selected to represent the district for their passion and their drive for student equity of voice, and to provide insight for and representation of students' wellness needs in our district. They wanted to contribute to the department's work with building out a stronger foundation in social emotional learning and help shed light on our concerns with students' feelings of a sense of belonging, feeling engaged and included in their learning, articulating and being prepared for high school, and emotional regulation, or having those skills to manage emotions and daily stressors. Last month, our student interns shared their findings from interviewing 43 students in our district from a wide variety of our schools in our district, multiple sites, and did a presentation to our district, as well as produced a well-written research memo that includes all their findings. We will have that research memo on our website under student services, probably within the next couple weeks. Please take time to read the research memo. It's very well written, and these students and their mentors carefully crafted that product, that culmination of their research findings, which in the next school year, we will be taking these findings to multiple groups in our district to review and incorporate into our learning as educators, to help build a better system for social emotional learning, and to help engage, uplift, and partner with our students to best support their needs. We're also hoping to have a little support to continue the project for future student advocacy groups that want to also uplift student voice contributions in the years to come. So we have a few of the mentors here from Stanford Gardner Center, so I'd like to introduce them. Can they come up when I call? Okay. So our Senior Community Engagement Associate from Stanford Gardner Center, Liz Newman. Please come up. I don't think she knew I was going to call her. Our Senior Research Associate, Laurel Sipes, excuse me. And they were key in working with our students and guiding along the process. Kristen Geiser, our Deputy Director, John Gardner Center. And so much behind the scenes and very hard work to get this going. So we really appreciate the partnership. And we have also a research assistant. Oh yeah, in the middle probably. Research assistant. Gardner Center Research Assistant Maria Camilla Rivera Zabarin. Okay. And our Community Impact Fellow Kelly Clavel Shinyo N. Oh, there. Okay. And not all of our students could be here at this time because, you know, it's crazy time, lots of things going on, awards and all that sort of stuff. So who could be here? I will announce all of them, but who could be here today? They will come up. David Diaz. Come on up. Cecilia Lopez Sandoval. Elizabeth Cow. Bianca Lopez Molina. And David Moraz. Oh, I don't see him. Trinity Tyson is on FaceTime. She could not be here. Ellen Forte is on FaceTime, I believe. She couldn't be here. And Johan Alejandres. So big round of applause for all the hard work. Amazing work. Thank you.
So with my colleagues' approval, I propose that we do a short amendment to the agenda and move the remainder of special recognitions and the student trustee comments until after the Um, We'll do it after number 10. The comments from the SDTA. So after that, before public comment, we'll do the remainder of the recognitions and the student trustee comments. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So now we are on item 8, Board of Trustees, Superintendent's comments and committee reports. Who'd like to begin? Would you like to go first? Okay, go ahead, Shawnee.
I'm going to ask Crystal to time me because I don't know how to use this. We are trying to be more efficient as a board. So I need to be mindful of how long I talk. Are you timing me already? Okay, let me hurry up. Because we're trying to be better. Wanted to talk about all the graduations I've been to, lots of them. And just went to Tide last night, and that was super, super fun. But I wanted to highlight also some of the culturally specific graduations. And I'm trying to think about, particularly I went to one for the Pacific Islanders, and I know as a parent, before I got on board, that was one of the questions and concerns that some of our Pacific Islander families had. And I joined their Pacific Islander meeting because I didn't have a group. So I went to the Pacific Islander meeting, and they were asking Mr. Emmy, and I'm looking at Simone because she's the principal at the time, if you remember this. And she did her magic at the time and found like 10 hours for us to do our own parent liaison roles, all kind of stuff. She was very creative. And one of the things was being seen and heard for their unique needs, according to the data that we have, but also to the feeling that they were having. And it was beautiful. And one of our staff actually teared up because I forgot the Taja and Pablo's role. I forgot what the role is called, the TOSAS partners, and how they facilitated this sense of belonging for them, that they actually teared up, and so did the parents. And so for a person who's seen the advocacy at the other end of saying we have needs, to actually seeing this happen, to meetings that we've had around with other leadership around them being seen, it was actually pretty beautiful to see that they felt seen. And they actually had a lot of parents who graduated from Sequoia and said, we've never had this before. So I just wanted to share that because I know that I went to the one at Sequoia for Nuestra, I think I'm saying that right, graduation. I know we've always had a Black graduation due to many years of having that, and just the beauty and the pride that we saw in many people for being seen, especially if you're a small population of the larger district, was really beautiful. So I wanted to say that. And then the other thing is that there's lots of conversation in the community. Trustee Dubois and I met with the Ravenswood High School alumni group. And so these are individuals in their late 60s to 80s. We had somebody there 104. And so we hear a lot about the closing of Ravenswood and how special it was for our district. I don't think any of us was here 80 years ago. So I just want to say, like, that conversation, I'm a historic kind of, like, I'm not a history buff where I read a bunch of books, but I love sitting with elders and learning about our history. And I brought Carrie with me, and it was just beautiful. It was a multicultural group, and they talked about not the race, but the culture of the school. And I think there's something we can learn there. And I know hopefully Superintendent Leach will come next time, but it was a really beautiful time for me to go back in history to see the beauty of what our district was, and hopefully learn some lessons where we can bring it back here, because it's coming up again when we've had a couple of different tension areas around race, around being seen, around being heard. And they talked about there was no such thing as dropout. It was all excellence. And that relationships is what drove their success. So just wanted to share that. Hopefully Trustee Dubois will have something to say, but just want to say I had a good time on my vacation, thought about y'all for a little bit of time. And then I went and partied my butt off. So I'm ready to be back here on the board. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I can go next. So I'd like to echo what Trustee Stevenson said. It was very fun to go to the Tide graduation for it being their first class. It was really fun to see all the graduates' faces, listen to their speeches, and celebrate with them. And what such a great moment for them after 4 years of hard work. I'm looking forward to attend many more graduations this week in the next couple years. The other thing is I would really like to thank the many parents and community members who bring to me and the board's attention how certain job descriptions of Sequoia Union High School District positions were not living up to some of our values related to inclusivity and diversity of thought, idea, ethnicity, race, etc. And I'd also like to really thank Assistant Superintendent Beal for being very open to these concerns and being willing to change these job descriptions so that they can truly live up to the ideals that we stand for. And yeah, overall, it's been a short time since our last meeting, but I've really enjoyed getting to talk to more parents and teachers and community members as usual, and also, attending graduation. It was a lot of fun.
Sure. Yeah, I wanted to start off by recognizing that this is Pride Month and in celebration of the LGBTQ plus community. If you're not familiar with the origins of the Pride Parade and Pride Month, you should check out the Stonewall Uprising documentary, which is airing on PBS on June 10th. It's also streaming on PBS and Amazon. That documentary really helps us understand how far we've come since 1969 and how far there is to go. I highly recommend it. I want to send my congratulations to our graduates and thanks to all the teachers and staff that supported them through their 4-year journey. I had a chance to go to the middle college celebration and Carlmont Avid celebrations. And hearing the stories from students, their hopes and dreams and their gratitude, the strong relationships with teachers and counselors and the excitement of their families, like they're all standing up at the end and taking pictures, like this is the moment. It really brings tears to my eyes and reminds me and reignites my passion for being a school board member. I won't be going to any of the graduations on Friday, however, because I have a 5th grade promotion to attend that day. So I'm going to be a proud parent on that day and do my fair share of photography. So that's it.
I also want to thank Shawnee's for inviting me to the Ravenswood alumni meeting. It was really incredible. We sat at small tables so we could have deep conversations. It wasn't just small talk or listening to speakers. It was a deep conversation. So I learned a lot about the history. And anyway, thank you so much. I felt very privileged to be a part of it. And I look forward to bringing our superintendent into some of those conversations. Again, the Tide graduation was fantastic. Did somebody already say it was a huge auditorium and it was standing room only, and the energy in the room was just amazing. So thank you, Simone, and your staff for taking such great care of kids. It was very, very exciting. I also went to the Tide Solstice evening, which was an award ceremony, and I loved it. I laughed so hard. Some kids who I asked if they were musical theater or theater kids or comedians. They were hysterical. So it was all student run and a great celebration night. I also went to the Independent Studies graduation. It's always one of my favorites. I tend to like to go to the small graduations, and so often at the smaller graduations, that's where we see the kids that have had the most hurdles to overcome for our high school graduation. Unfortunately, I had to cancel some of the graduations I was supposed to attend. Because of work, I couldn't go to the Black student celebration. And I was also unable to go to Trace. And so I want to remind the board that at some point we do need to do our visit to Trace, because that was cut short last year when we did our first day of school visit. And I hope that somebody was able to make it to Trace. So anyway, a very, very busy time with all the graduations. So best time to be a board member. Thanks.
So I just echo some prior comments. It's a really exciting time of year as a learning organization. This is the time when we send 1/4 of our students off to pursue their dreams, and soon we'll be welcoming a new 1/4 of our students. A special recognition to our Tide principals here on your first graduating class. It's fun to celebrate milestones. I appreciate the cyclical nature of the education business and the rhythm that you get through the years. And this is an exciting time to be a board member. I think each time of the year is an exciting time for various reasons, but I look forward to the graduation. I'll be attending this Friday, and congrats to all the students on their graduations.
I wanted to, I don't know how we can emphasize this, but I think this was the first year, I don't know how I did it, but I got around to a lot of graduations and things of that sort. I really didn't realize how vastly diverse our district is in response to all the celebrations. The one that I went to, I'm looking at Elizabeth, what was the one that we went over here? The satellite, was that the satellite? Just how we have some for those who have really overcome some challenges for graduation. But I know that there was also kind of like an award ceremony that the parent liaisons did. That was really around those who had great effort in school. And so I want to make sure I go to those as well, because I actually am in awe of our district, of how diverse we really are as far as our different celebrations. And when I say that, I don't have a new word, but you give me a new word. I think you were an English teacher or something. Give me a different word for diverse. But like the vastness of like the types of celebrations and the profiles of our students and how we celebrate them. And I hope that one day when our new PIO, who I haven't met, hey, that is actually something we can demonstrate a little bit more. Thank you.
So when you are coming off of what I like to refer to as the 100 days of May, and you're like rounding that last mile in an ultra marathon, definitely is an ultra race, you like totally get your bucket refilled this week, right? With the graduations, the celebrations, allowing us to really recenter ourselves for why we are here, why we keep showing up every day in these extremely difficult, very difficult jobs. So it is a great time to be in education when we get to celebrate our graduates. On an additional note, I would like to share that recently, unfortunately, we have lost one of our own. I'm going to try to share. So Allison Mancata was with the district since 2005. So she's been with us for 18 years and unfortunately passed away way too soon. Allison was more than just a competent employee. While it was important for her to answer your questions right away, and that the schools received their test materials promptly, and that people were reimbursed right away, Allison also took time to know who you were as a person. She wanted to know how your children were doing, how your hot date was over the weekend, and what was on your mind. For me, she was a couple offices down, but what she was able to do for me was to distract from my voice, which most of you know carries through the district office. Her voice also carries through the district office. So she was a little bit of my voice buffer, but she was deeply loved. I'm so thankful to the staff that was able to go and remember her in the services on Saturday. So thank you.
What office did she work in?
She was in assessment and research under Bonnie's area.
She was in ed services and she was beloved. She was an employee who showed up almost every day during COVID lockdown. She had an amazing sense of humor. And I think the biggest testament to her is that the person for whom she worked for over 10 years flew in from Philadelphia on an overnight to be at the service on Saturday.
Okay, student trustees, your comments.
Okay, I know we kind of, excuse me, kind of switched the order around, but this is kind of my closing comments. Good evening, everyone. And, thank you for sharing that, Superintendent Leach. And thank you, Allison, for your service to this district. So thank you all so much for the past year. It has been an absolute privilege getting to know this district in the depths. I'm so excited for our senior class to be graduating this coming Friday. I know you all have delegated, and I think Trustee Stevenson, we'll see you at Carmont on Friday. And thank you so much to Bonnie Hanson and Trustee Dubois and Trustee Koo for coming to our middle college celebration. Especially because I was eager to show off my very small team's decoration skills. Those balloons were really hard earned, to say the least. My mom over there is witness to that. And I wanted to say to the board and to our community how amazing and impressive our class of 23 has become. We were freshmen when the pandemic struck, and I'm so happy to see how we've grown through hardship and distance, and now are spreading our wings. I'd also like to announce that the new student trustees have been selected for the 23-24 school year. A little applause. And they'll be introduced next meeting. And of course, a big, forever, and everlasting thank you to Laura Luese. Round of applause for her, please. She guided Avantika and I through this year and was always there when we had questions or concerns. My God, she is busy. She's really busy, but she always shows up, and I will never forget that. Her positivity, her consistency, and her trustworthiness is something I truly aspire to have in adulthood. To Dr. Williams, thank you for an amazing first half term, and you will always remain in my heart. Back again to Bonnie Hanson. Thank you so much for being you. I can't see you. Every time I look over to you, you have a smile on your face, or you're giving me the most thoughtful, understanding, real look I have ever seen in my entire life. You make me feel seen and cared about, and I could not have asked for a greater gift this year. And thank you to my mom over there. I'm gonna poke her out because she's always supported me in my entire life and in this role, and listened to my late night rants about district happenings off record, of course. I thank her for nurturing me and giving me the safety to be who I am and giving life to my voice. She inspires me to do this work, the hard work, for a lifetime. Thank you to Avantika for being, a great, great friend. We did not know each other very well at the start of the school year, but now I do not know any other person who can understand me, joke with me, and uplift me, and truly dive deep with me as well as she does. Lastly, I want to say thank you to our community and the students for making all of this worth it. When I see a student's success and happiness, which equates to my own happiness and success, I am so grateful. Grateful for the success I have and wish so desperately to share it with others. And thank you to the SAC this year for their voices and the increased possibility for change and awareness across our district. I could not have asked for a better senior year, and big, huge shout out to all the teachers I've had these last 4 years for their dedication and persistent contribution to this district. I want to say good luck to the class of 23 and good luck to this district. I hope we all continue to strive for accountability, accuracy, equity, love, transparency, and truth. Thank you.
Immediate tears. That's great. But I mean, you said it all. I'm so thankful for being in this position and being able to, see the inner workings of this district and how much everyone on the board and every teacher and every person in administration really cares about all of the students, Thank you, of course, Laura, for really shepherding us through this year, making it possible to do everything that we have wanted to do. Oh my goodness, do you see this? I'm too emotional all the time, but yeah. So thank you for that. Thank you to the board for, you know, just being so caring about the student voice and really wanting to uplift us. And I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Trustee Stevenson, for reaching out to me within like a couple weeks of, you know, us being in the position and being so ready to make that connection. You really made me feel so empowered and so a part of this community from the get-go. Thank you, Bonnie, for, you know, taking us out like first thing and just making sure that we knew that you were there for us, and also for answering, you know, all my questions about curriculum and everything, and just being so open. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Samantha, because I really couldn't see myself doing this, you know, on my own or with anyone else but you. Yeah, I just have utmost gratitude for you being so, again, so open and so ready to create community here. It means a lot. I do have something that well like I just wanted to put this on the table to discuss for the new student trustees. I created a spin up sheet because I'd like to develop some sort of very simple student trustee training, or like make an opportunity for the new student trustees to have again a very like short and sweet meet and greet with the board, perhaps before the term starts, just so they can, you know, again, feel that community right from the get-go and feel like, okay, I have a space here, I can be open, I can and just understand, you know, what is this position, what am I supposed to be doing. Yeah, so I outlined with Samantha's help, of course, the goals and objectives that and just everything I've learned within the position. So it includes and I'll definitely be sharing it out, you know, because I think, you know, I'm just one voice, but it has objectives and goal setting, you know, emails for meeting the board members and so that they can feel empowered to reach out, core tasks, and other considerations, just like tips that Samantha and I had, and also just fun stuff like district jackets. But, you know, just things that students joining the district might want to know, just so they can really feel like, okay, I'm ready. I know what I'm supposed to be doing in this position. I know what I shouldn't be doing in this position. I'm ready to be here. I'm ready to be present. So I will definitely be sending that out. And I hope that I'll be able to send that to the new student trustees so they know what to expect, or, you know, yeah. So that's all. Thank you, guys.
Okay, next is the comments from the Sequoia District Teachers Association.
All right, see if I need to borrow some of those tissues. So tomorrow's the final day, student day of school, a milestone for all involved, followed by graduation, except as we heard for Tide, which snuck it in on Tuesday, and all the pomp and circumstance we afford to our graduates and their families, and in tribute to their hard work. The summer can be a very exciting time full of new prospects, and it can also be scary for many of the same reasons. Today, I gave my last final of the year. Then I speed walked to the Scantron machine to grade them. I needn't have rushed. Very few of us still know what a Scantron machine is, or where to find it on campus, or how to use it. Before I looked at those grades on the finals, I had listened to 2 classes worth of video presentations that showed how much my students had learned over the course of just 1 year, how much I had taught them, and I was incredibly proud of them. And then I get to go down to the quad to join with the whole Sequoia community for our annual PTSA luncheon and retiree celebration. And for the first time ever, I wondered if I would be able to make it through the next 13 years required to hit my target end date. I finished this year knowing that 27 of my colleagues have retired this year. Another 36 or more have resigned or will not be returning to temporary positions. That's 10% of us. 10% of our colleagues who have chosen that this district will no longer be home for them after this week. Last year, we said goodbye to 57. The year before, 48. This is a trend that is going in the opposite direction from the board's stated goals to retain staff. People leave for a variety of reasons. For some, it's a commute. For others, it's a chance at a new opportunity. But for too many, it's less the siren call of greener pastures and more the frustration with the pasture we find ourselves in. I know that HR has been asked to offer exit interviews to those choosing to leave the district, and I hope they are being taken up on that offer and that the district is keeping track of the responses they get. Members have told me that this has been their most challenging year to date. Many of them the same ones who thought nothing would be more difficult than learning to teach online or to transition our students back to a normal classroom. And maybe it's because we're far enough removed from those first days of scrambling to finish the 2020 school year that we thought things might go back to normal. And so when they did it, it hit us that much harder. Or maybe it's because as we let go of each of the remaining COVID restrictions, though not all of the COVID concerns, they were replaced by new frustrations, missteps, and misunderstandings. For those of our colleagues who are moving on to new adventures, I wish them the best possible luck and happiness. For those of us who remain, I can only hope that after some rest and separation, we can return in August focused on rebuilding our communities to be welcoming, supportive, and celebratory of all our staff and students. Of the new people who will come to fill that 10% void, of the returning staff who are excited to get back at it, and those of us hanging on and hoping for something that will keep us coming back for a few more years. We have a responsibility to build that community together, from the board through the superintendent and cabinet, district office and site administration, district office and site certificated and classified staff, parents, students, and community members. It's an overwhelming task, some might say daunting, and it's not one taken lightly or pawned off glibly on a slogan or appreciation day. We look to the fall of 2023 as an opportunity for rebirth, renewal, and growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Edith. Do we have anybody here from the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees to make a comment? Okay, seeing none, I want to thank the student. No, just want to thank the student trustees for your very emotional and touching comments. I really appreciated those. I kind of like that we did your comments before we get to recognize you. So now we do the recognition. So maybe the little switcheroo worked out perfectly. So next is superintendent's recognitions.
So for our second recognition tonight, we have a very dynamic duo that we are very happy to have been able to welcome and join us at the dais. And that is our 22-23 student trustees. We want to recognize them for their outstanding work and service this school year, representing the student's voice and reminding us when maybe it was a little too silent. So thank you for that. This is the last board meeting with us. And so this is the time we would like to thank them for their exceptional leadership, going above and beyond, serving others, especially with the Student Advisory Council, and for their knowledgeable insights that have contributed greatly in response to some hard conversations this school year. We wish them the very best in college and in all their future endeavors. So let's give a big round of applause for our two student trustees. And then before we take a brief recess, let's go around the dais and talk about how fabulous these two individuals are. Shanice, would you like to start?
Thank you, because I wanted to go first. I am so excited that you are graduating. I was a little sad I couldn't go to all the graduations, but I was super excited that I could go to Karma because I was like, we have our student trustees there. And just wanted to personally share with you all. I actually have my own cards, nothing against my trustees, but I also have my own. Just to really thank you all for your voice. I think I shared with someone, I said, when I first met with you all, it was like I was taking notes of what y'all were saying. So that meant that you had a lot that you wanted to give. And as a parent, I know my kids always tell me I'm not listening very well to them because they have an opinion too. And I know I can be a little bit more of an adult and try to be on students. And so I've been practicing listening to our youth, even if it's not something I want to listen to, but I want to listen, right? Because it's your lived experience, even if I was there many moons ago. But your experience is your experience. And the courage you all had to say, I want to talk about curriculum. I was like, Dr. Bonnie, this is how you do that. Or say, hey, I'm concerned about mental health, right? Or talking about culture and diversity. And also getting to see you just in your youthfulness, being able to hear you sing in the park, Amantika, and meeting your parents. She sings beautiful music. And she's going to school for music too. Very proud of you. And I even watching you swim at the swim meet and hang out with your sister and just talk about your tenacity, your strength, your maturity. And even receiving emails from you all during the hardest time as a board member, and I'm not going to cry, and just reading them and saying, wow, these are the adults in the room, right? They're showing us how to be adults. And so I just want to take this moment to say thank you. I've been saying at a lot of the graduations, you are the best of Sequoia Union High School District, and you represent us well. I don't know about your moms and your dads or whomever is caring for you. But when we kind of sit back and we've done our job, 18 years of parenting, I'm looking at some of the moms, I think your mom, I'm about to say your parents are here. So I imagine them here. I don't think we sat around saying, man, we didn't think we're going to be in this long haul is long to get here, right? But then there's the dividends in which adults get paid back. And that's when you're 18 and you start to see the fruits of your labor. And you are the fruits of our labor. And I think your family has done a great job with you all, and you are ready for the world. And the world better get ready for y'all. So thank you.
Just want to say thank you for the time that you put in. This is a lot of time. And sometimes I worry that it's too much time for students, but you guys did it. Thank you for your voice. Thank you for your passion. You guys made so many eloquent points to us. So we appreciate you. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much for your service. I feel like I had wanted to meet with you both, but just trying to onboard myself as a new trustee, and then things got busy, never got around to it. But part of it, besides getting to know you, was to understand, hey, what are some lessons learned from your experience, and what should we keep doing? What can we improve? Because I have that mindset of always making things better. And you were so proactive. You came up with your own recommendation without even being asked, and a tip sheet. It's like, oh man, they're thinking improvements already. Awesome. So really thank you for that. Look forward to hearing your feedback on, what things could be done better to support our student trustees, and good luck with everything.
Yeah, I'd also like to say thank you so much for all the work you guys do for our district. I think the student trustee position is one of the greatest things we do. And, from my experience, I think it's a really cool experience to learn how our education system governed. And, I say this a lot, but I think education is one of the unique areas in that the people who we make decisions for, who actually have to be in a classroom for 8 hours a day, and every single decision we make is about them, have almost no say in the process. They can't vote for their elected representatives. They don't get to decide really or set any policy. So, having this position is one of the ways that our district really tries to have student voice be front and center in every single thing we do. And I think you've done a great job of representing our students. And really happy of all the work you guys do. And I think you set the bar very high for whoever follows you next year. So thank you so much. I wish you the best in all your future work. And I hope you too also decide to stay involved with the Sequoia Union High School District.
The student trustee position is a great addition to the board, the voice of the student. And I just want to commend you both on your courage. There's a few times through the past year where you said things that maybe took some amount of courage to say, but you did it. And I think for us to hear it and for the students to have courage to say it is a great thing. And you brought distinction to the position. So thank you for serving in it. Break time. So it's now 6:55 and we're going to do a oh, sorry, we're not ready yet. One more thing. Okay, so thanks again to our student trustees. Again, congratulations on graduating from the school board. So we're going to take a short break. It is now 6:56 and we will return at 7:10. Okay, welcome back. At this point, we are on item 11, public comment. This is for items that are not on our agenda. Do we have any public comment for items not on the agenda?
I received no comment cards.
Okay, is any attendee in the Zoom audience want to make a public comment about an item not on the agenda? Please raise your Zoom hand now. Okay, seeing no public comment, the next item is approval of the consent agenda. The consent agenda items are acted in a single motion, and we cannot discuss any of them unless they are pulled for separate action. Does anybody have any comment? Are there any comments about any of the consent agenda items? Community at the first, if there's any public comment about any of the consent agenda items,
I do
please
have-
raise your Zoom hand now. There's one in the live
I
audience.
do have one in person.
Okay. So let's hear the public comment on the,
It's Edith Savitar.
okay.
I don't rise to ask you to pull anything from the consent agenda or to advocate against any of the items. I just want to be, I wanted to be publicly acknowledged, I guess, rather than hidden in the links of the consent agenda, that among the items being approved are $420,750 worth of professional development and consulting contracts, $157,293 worth of survey and data platforms, and $480,353 worth of counseling and restorative justice services for over $1 million. And there are additional contracts outside of those three areas, but it it struck me how many there are. I understand it's probably the time of year and getting prepared for the beginning of next year. But it was especially the nearly $500,000 in professional development and consulting jumped out at me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any other comments about consent agenda items from the public? Okay, does any board member wish to pull any items from the consent agenda?
Yes, I wanted to pull Grow Your Own just because I want to highlight.
Can we make,
Sharing the number.
can we make
Just a
general?
second. What number do you wish to pull? Okay. go ahead.
12.12, no, I'm sorry. 12.10.
What's topic question?
Oh, what Crystal said.
You can't comment about a consent agenda item. They have to be acted on without comment. So if you want to comment about it, you pull it and then you can comment and we act on it individually.
Okay, it's fine then.
Okay? Does anybody want to pull any other items from the consent agenda? Okay, so to have the I seek a motion to approve the consent agenda without item 12.10, which has been pulled.
So moved.
A second?
Thank you. Roll call vote.
Trustee Nori,
Yes.
trustee Ku,
Yes.
trustee Dubois, vice president Stevenson,
Yes.
president Ginn.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, so now our practice is to act on any pulled items immediately after approving the consent agenda. So the pulled item is item 12.10. Go ahead, Shawnees.
I just wanted to pull this, just to say how pleased I am with this. I'm learning more about, the administrators one, that we have some folks graduating or close to completing, something like that, somewhere around there, about 6. And I remember almost 2 years ago at this point, man, I've been on the board 2 years. I'm no longer a newbie. But anyhow, just how much of a blessing this developing your own program has been, not only to diversify, but also to attract people to our field and to our organization, and benefiting quite a bit as a parent of kids who were in school, total of 7 years here at Menlo Atherton. And so I just wanted to kind of continue to highlight that and the good work that we are doing to diversify, but also bring individuals from our community onto staff. And we know that some of the individuals who have gone to our schools who are now becoming part of our staff, which means there's some longevity that could possibly be there. And I'm looking at Todd because of retention and what Edith said earlier. So thank you. That's all.
Oh, I would also like to quickly adding on to what Shawnees said, I would like to really thank Kathy Kwan and the Kwan Eustace Foundation. She actually happens to be the aunt of one of my very good friends at Stanford, for all her generosity in helping the district. And I think there are a lot of programs like this that wouldn't be possible without her. So, we very much appreciate our community members and especially Kathy Kwan and her foundation for stepping up to help the district with this. So thank you so very much for all your monetary support.
Thank you, Sophic, for adding that. Amy or Carrie, would you like to say anything about this item? So I'll just add, since we did pull it, that I believe in having a learning organization where every person who's interested in job promotion, whatever, has that opportunity to learn and grow and pursue whatever job they seek. And having a program to help some of our employees move from one job description to another one is something that I'm really proud of and happy to see. And I like it to be all the way through our entire organization. So I'm really supportive of this program in general. And with that, Shawnees, would you like to make a motion to approve?
And I'm looking at Bonnie. I like to make what do I say? I like to put, what do I say? Motion to approve. Sorry, lost my brain. I'm still on vacation. Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, Lord, do we need roll call? Okay,
Trustee Nori,
Yes.
trustee Ku,
Yes.
trustee Dubois,
Yes.
vice president Stevenson,
Yes.
president Ginn.
yes,
Motion passed.
thank you. Okay, our next item is our information item. This is a presentation from the Sequoia Union High School District Sustainability Committee. Gary, would you like to say anything in introduction of the committee?
Yes, so I have been the board member liaison to the Sustainability Committee, and I have been so impressed. I've said this before, but the students probably have not heard me say this. It is one of the best run committee meetings that I attend, and I attend so many. So the students involved have a lot of passion and enthusiasm. I learn a lot. It's not just students, there are a lot of adults involved in this work. So we have our Sequoia teachers. We have some of our maintenance people, a principal, the Redwood principal, Stephanie Ogden is involved. There's a representative from the County Office of Education. There are consultants who advise school districts. And I'm probably missing somebody, but it's a very large committee. They have broken up everybody into working groups. There is a schedule, there's deadlines. I mean, it is so efficient, you would be blown away. So I'm excited to have them present to us tonight. And I know we talk a lot about student voice. All of this work was initiated by our students, led by our students. So thank you guys for presenting to us.
So first off, we want to thank you for making the time for us to speak today. I'm Misha, and I'm here today with committee leader Kara and future leaders Jason Iris and Paul. So we are here today to request your support in introducing district sustainability coordinators on behalf of the SUHSD Sustainability Committee, now 2 years in the running. So we started off in November of 2020 after 700 plus students gathered together to sign a petition that declared the district in a state of climate emergency. A climate declaration was drafted in the process and was unanimously signed into action by the board in 2021. This declared the district in number 1, a state of climate emergency, number 2, responsible for setting and meeting sustainability goals, and number 3, responsible for evaluating its progress every 12 to 18 months. The SUHSD Sustainability Committee was henceforth established to meet this resolution passed by the board and on behalf of the 700 plus students who signed the petition. Sustainability coordinators have been in our committee's mission statement since the very beginning, along with our other goals to evaluate district operations, research and implement clean energy, and integrate environmental literacy into the curriculum. This has all been possible due to the collaborative nature with numerous stakeholders in our district. With district-wide collaboration on student-led sustainability initiatives, students are not only able to lead advocacy campaigns, but are also able to be a part of real change with support from the decision-making adults in this district like you all.
Okay, so the work, okay, so really quickly, as the slide says, I know we just wasted a little some time. Acting now will help the district offset long-term costs, comply with upcoming state regulations, and serve its students who will continue to be impacted by the climate crisis in the coming years, which I think is a major concern. So here are the work that our committee members have put in this year is a testament to our success and your benefit. This year, we are proud to say that this SUHSD Sustainability Committee has been selected by the county as a standout leader by the Sustainable and Climate Resilience School Challenge, or SCRS. We had 3 subcommittees this year. Our Zero Waste Subcommittee has been in collaboration with the Food Service Head for Sustainable Condiment Dispensers and Reduced Waste on School Grounds.
And the Clean Energy Subcommittee has, with the help of adult leads from SMCOE, advocated for photovoltaic panel implementation in the district, as the energy from photovoltaic panels will offset the cost from non-renewables in the long term. This means that more money in the district could go towards supporting students rather than continuously buying electricity. And finally, the Environmental Literacy Subcommittee has pushed out a district-wide staff survey that will help start an environmental literacy toolkit next year. supporting teachers amid mandates from state EPNCs that they must include environmental literacy in the curriculum in all subject areas. This makes work easier for the district and teachers, and we want to give a shout out to Ms. Hilborn from the San Mateo County Office of Education and Ms. Hero from Carlmont for making this possible.
So despite our successes, there have been a few barriers that we face this year, especially as we've emerged out of the pandemic. With student turnovers and teachers and administrators having to readjust their busy schedules to fit our meetings times, we've experienced a decrease in adult participation who serve not only as key role models for the students in our committee, but also as teammates. It is only with the county and district collaboration that we have been able to successfully implement district-wide waste assessments, for example, at each school site, get a committee webpage, and develop resources such as the environmental toolkits for teacher curriculums quickly and effectively. When student advocacy and adult decision makers collaborate together, there is potential for large-scale, meaningful impact, and that's what our committee has been founded on. So, therefore, we're advocating for sustainability coordinators in the district. You've heard the term before, but what does it really entail? From the, as you can see right here, the San Mateo County Office of Education job description, the coordinator is responsible for working with the committee to support the district-wide integration of environmental sustainability, one of the largest issues that the district faces. Examples of successful sustainability coordinators can be found in local districts, such as the San Mateo Union High School District. We have a representative who will speak later in public comment, and the Cabrillo Unified High School District. As mentioned before, the role of the sustainability coordinator is currently being served by numerous volunteer adult positions to which we are very thankful for. For example, Ms. Hilborn and Annalise from SMCOE, Ms. Hero from Carmont, Trustee Dubois from the board, and Ben from the Center of Environmental Health. Their support has been critical not only to our current committee, but also since our founding. If you remember Andrea from SMCOE and Naomi filling in as advisors to our student leadership team. The sustainability coordinator position serves as a tribute to all of the voluntary work that these adults have put into keeping this committee going for 2 years, and is a necessary position for the district's commitment to the climate emergency declaration and the continuity of the sustainability committee.
In addition to the district's commitment to the climate declaration, there are other benefits to hiring sustainability coordinators. For example, SB 1383 regulations for this district are coming on January 1st, 2024, meaning we must increase waste education and improve waste sorting on district school sites in order to comply, or else if the district is reported, they may pay an annual fine. But beyond financial penalties, it is also important for the district to consider the student community that you serve and are looked up to by. School administrators expect students to follow district rules, and that expectation should be upheld for our district decision makers. And finally, as mentioned, the San Mateo and Cabrillo districts have successfully implemented sustainability coordinators. So we look forward to your continued support, and we hope that we can find a time with you to discuss how we might work towards introducing district sustainability coordinators in the near future. And on behalf of the entire SUHSD Sustainability Committee, we want to thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you so much for your presentation. If you could just stay in the area for a moment, because we may have comments from the public and from the board before your item is over. So first, we need public comments.
I do have one comment card.
Okay, and we also have at least one Zoom hand. So if anybody in the Zoom audience would like to comment, please raise your Zoom hand now. Okay, so we
This
should
one.
take the two comments. Thank you.
All right, first up, we'll hear from Dave Emmanuel.
Good evening. My name is Dave Emanuel. I'm a teacher at Hillsdale High School in San Mateo. And tonight I'm speaking as in my capacity as the coordinator of the San Mateo Union High School District, kind of SMUSH, kind of a mouthful, Sustainability Committee. And I'm also speaking tonight to share with you the benefits that my district has experienced as a result of the decision to fund a series of sustainability facilitators or coordinators. We call them facilitators in our district. In my district. So first, a little quick background about San Mateo Union District. Our district serves about 8,900 students. It's made up of 6 comprehensive high schools, 1 continuation high school, charter school, middle college, and an adult school. Our students come from a variety of cities in the county, from San Mateo in the south to San Bruno in the north. The San Mateo SMUSH has adopted a sustainability policy in 2017. that committed the district to running its operations in a sustainable fashion. So this policy included campus operations objectives to reduce environmental impacts in energy, water, waste reduction and recycling, new construction and facility modernization, transportation, and purchasing procurement. In 2019, the district adopted a green schools operation policy, which further reinforced the promotion and development of green strategies that reduced environmental impacts and protect the health of all school stakeholders. So these efforts have been supported and encouraged by members of our San Mateo community, county community, and most significant from students. Indeed, in April 2021, students from several district schools presented a declaration of climate emergency, as they've done here in this district, to the board. The board approved this declaration and went on to fulfill its sustainability commitments by creating positions known as sustainability facilitators. And the district created a stipended sustainability facilitator role with the goal of institutionalizing sustainability efforts and increasing the efficiency of communication among students, teachers, and staff at a district-wide level. So as of March 2021, 4 high school sites in our districts of the 6 have hired a teacher staff member to fill this position as a sustainability facilitator. And these facilitators, we meet monthly to share best practices and develop strategies to address a variety of issues. And these meetings are attended by the facilitators, by the district's chief business officer, at times the superintendent, some of our facilities managers, the representatives from the County Office of Education, and students from all of our high schools. So I've served on this committee both as a sustainability facilitator from Hillsdale High School, and since the fall of 2022 as the coordinator of the committee. And I believe that the district has seen a number of benefits from these stipended positions. Sustainability facilitators have played a really important role in supporting our district waste management
It was
efforts.
my mistake. I should have informed you that our public comment is 3 minutes, and the 3 minutes is up, but I'll give you 1 minute to finish
Okay.
because I made the mistake
Sounds-
of not informing you in advance.
Sounds good. Sure, no problem. So this is one issue in terms of waste management that the sustainability facilitators have played a really key role. The district has moved to implement, we applied for a grant for 20 tri-bins that were then delivered and installed at various sites at the school level. And the facilitators have then worked with students directly to develop an education campaign around this. So this is one important area that they've made a big difference. Secondly, has been accountability. The committee sort of serves as a kind of oversight for the district's sustainability goals, measuring those, and that has sometimes challenged or checked in with the district about their progress on these goals. Our third probably important area is its ability to work with outside supportive organizations such as the County Office of Education. So these facilitators have really played a key role at each site, engaging at each school level, the students, teachers, and really improved our communication and ability to achieve our sustainability goals.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Yeah. So before the next commenter, is my mistake to not share the protocols, which is that the public commenters have 3 minutes for each public comment. If there's more than 3 commenters, we could select a shorter amount of time for the commenters, but since there's only 2, it's 3 minutes per person. And for the person on the Zoom audience, you should see a timer while you are speaking and you have the 3 minutes to make the comment. My apologies for not sharing that in advance, and let's hear the next comment.
Our next speaker is Julie Hilborn on Zoom.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Members of the board and members of the public, I'm Julie Hilborn, and I am the Sustainability and Environmental Literacy Coordinator for the San Mateo County Office of Education. And I support all 23 school districts in the county with prioritizing environmental literacy and integrating environmental sustainability and climate-ready practices across a school's campus, curriculum, community, and culture. And I just want to say how fortunate you all are to have had the 3 students this year who have championed the committee. I'm a little bit new in my position, and like Carrie Dubois said, I've just been so impressed by what they have done. So as part of the effort at the county office, I support all the districts that have sustainability committees. So I have a sense of where those efforts are most successful across the county. And without fail, we see the greatest successes in districts that have a part-time sustainability coordinator. Sequoia Union High School District, as you heard earlier, enacted a climate emergency declaration in 2021, which specifically states the district will connect and collaborate with local partners, organizations, and stakeholders to work towards sustainability goals. However, there is no designated adult to provide the necessary connection between the schools, district office, and school board to ensure those sustainability goals are being met. At the moment, the adult participation on the committee is spotty. Carrie Dubois has absolutely been a champion, and there are a few other teachers and other members who have been also championing this work. However, you know, in my observation from all the other committees that I serve, and like Mr. Emmanuel said, when there are people who are stipended and being honored for the time that they're spending, a lot more work gets done. So Cabrillo Unified and San Mateo Union High School districts have both committed to their climate emergency declarations by hiring part-time sustainability coordinators. As a result of Cabrillo's commitment, this year they received the California Silver Green Ribbon School Recognition, one of only 6 school districts in the state to receive that high honor. And San Mateo Union High School District has received previous Green Ribbon recognition and has also made numerous cost and energy saving upgrades such as fleet electrification, solar district wide, and they're working towards standardizing waste management practices, as you heard. So my time is running out here. So I just really want to urge you to follow the lead of these other districts and hire a part-time sustainability coordinator. There are numerous surveys that have been done that show that parents and students in the high 80s want this sort of thing to be in the district's environmental literacy and sustainability. So I urge you to support those students and parents. And
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the public comments. At this time, we see if there are any board members, any comments or questions for our presenters. Carrie, go ahead.
Just briefly, I mean, one of the things I've been saying is I wish we could do something to help the students. I don't know what that is. But I also, as I was listening, I was reflecting, I think sometimes our district has lagged behind a bit in certain things. And it helped to get David Emmanuel's letter. I don't know if you all had a chance to read it because it came late in the day. But it does sort of spell out what San Mateo Union is doing as a best practice example. And I like that it's, you know, teachers, right, who are passionate about it. And I've certainly met some of the teachers in our district who are so passionate and they want more to happen. And just to share, when I was new to this district, I think it was as a parent at Carmont, so this is quite a while ago because my oldest is about to turn 30. And I went to recycle. And I was at Carmont and I was told that the school didn't recycle. And I was so shocked. Again, that was a long time ago. So I know we've made some progress, but we probably haven't made enough progress. And sustainability isn't something that's nice to do. I think it's something that we have to do. We have to model. And so many people in our community are passionate about it. So I'm hoping that there's some way we can help this outstanding group of students who are so passionate and they want this work to continue, and they really do want our district to do more.
I think for me, first of all, thank you all for the presentation. I didn't say that. Thank you so much for your public comment, as well as Julie from the San Mateo County Office of Ed. I remember when this brought up, when we did right before the resolution around this, and the students, I must have been on here just a week. When we started getting emails about different points of views from the students, and there was no adults involved. It was really all students, and really wondering how we can listen to the students. So we did the declaration, and now you're urging us to do something a little bit more sustainable, play on words. And so I am wondering how we can listen to students, because if students are coming to it, of course, listen in ways that make sense for our district, of course. It's nice to hear what San Mateo Unified High School District is doing, but I also want to hear and I'm not for sure if this is the time, Superintendent Leach, or if there's another time we can talk about this, but how do we listen in a way that makes sense for our district? Is kind of where I'm at this point. I do know sustainability and climate efforts are being done locally in our community. I know in East Palo Alto, there's a couple of organizations that's doing climate ambassador programs and training people with New Age Casa, One East Palo Alto, Anamatangi. And I think there's some work here in Redwood City through Redwood City Together with some of the work that they've been doing here as well. So it's not unusual to have some of our students. And I believe it was Sophia Kim, am I correct, who was here beforehand? I can't remember if it was Sophia, but she had come to me and asking me how, maybe her name isn't Sophia. I forgot. Is that who I talked to? She was a student? Yeah, okay. It was Sophia, but different last name. And shared how we can diversify also getting other students involved to understand this field of work as well, even after she graduated. And so I still wonder how we can listen to the students. And I'm not, because this isn't a voting item, this is a discussion item. I guess I'm looking to it, Oh, it's just an information, not a discussion item. But I do wonder how we can begin to maybe put it on the agenda when we have time. We can look at that. But how can we have a discussion about how we can listen to our students in ways that make sense? I'm not necessarily agreeing or disagreeing with the facilitator piece of it, but just how can we listen to our students in ways that make sense for our district? Because their efforts are really important. And I just think if we want our students to know how it feels to be listened in a world that doesn't listen very well, we want to listen well so that when they go out and people don't listen to them, they know it's unusual. So that's just my take on things.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you for your work you've done as part of the Sustainability Committee. I did have a question since I'm new. I was wondering, you mentioned that there was turnover and changing responsibilities this year, and I was wondering what those were, like what the situation was.
Yeah, basically what's been happening is a lot of students are graduating, and there's also been a lot of teacher turnover, a lot of teachers have been quitting, and also I believe there's positions on the board of trustees. So when those terms end, there's a lot of switching between trustees, and it's hard to sort of keep up like commitments in that case, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Do you need any more elaboration?
Well, I guess that, one of your recommendations was to have that coordinator role. I think in terms of getting the adults more involved, what other ideas or recommendations does your committee have beyond just the coordinator role? Like, are there mindsets that need to be changed or?
I believe that the coordinator is the most important thing that we can do currently, but that does also involve changing of mindset, sort of. The idea that this district did pass a climate emergency declaration, now is the time to act on it. And if we don't act on it soon, then these problems are just going to get worse and worse. So now is the time to act, not only for our interest, but for everybody's interest. What we really want to do is benefit the entire community by acting right now. And as a student in the district, I do want the best for this district.
Okay, cool. And then I was kind of curious, since we do have the Measure W that passed, and there's going to be endeavors to upgrade our facilities, what role is your committee playing, and or what role would you like to play?
Yeah, that is something we actually discussed with a few trustees, but what I currently lead the Clean Energy Subcommittee, and Paul over here is actually a co-chair actually of the Clean Energy Subcommittee. And what we really want to do is focus on photovoltaic panel implementation, as there is a provision for that in Measure W. So we really want to support that as students and make sure that sort of there's student perspective in these issues. And I believe there is a board presentation coming up about Measure W and the facilities master plan, as it's called. And we do really want to go in there, go to that board meeting and provide our input.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, I thought I'd quickly add on. So I want to thank you so much for all the work you guys did. And I actually remember, because I think when the climate declaration emergency resolution was passed. I was a student trustee, so it's great to see how much work has been accomplished these past 3 years. So I don't know about the feasibility of making a sustainability coordinator or not, but what I was wondering is in the short term, if you knew if there were people at individual sites, like whether it be teachers or assistant superintendents who are interested in acting as these coordinators in the short term, if like instead of creating a new position, there was someone existing who could take on some of this work. I don't know if you've explored that idea at all or something that could be more immediate.
So we haven't had any I guess concrete conversations as to like deciding who people who are like extremely willing to be part-time sustainability coordinators. However, we do know that there are a variety of very I'd say interested teachers and administration across the district. For example, Ms. Hero from Carmont, and then I believe, Miss Aki from Woodside, and then there's also Daisy Young, yes, who and they've all been huge supporters for this committee, and we definitely want to have a conversation like that with them at some time to see what their thoughts are as well, because we believe that they are definitely at the forefront of our adult support.
And I guess I just have one more question for you, my own personal curiosity. So what are your plans for like the next couple of years? Like what specific initiatives do you guys want to work on that you view as a priority for a district in sustainability?
We're running around a few ideas. One thing we were considering is a no idling campaign in the schools that really deal with a lot of like pollution from cars, if that makes sense. An issue, at least at Woodside, because that's my home high school, is that a lot of cars are sort of just like idling in the sort of pickup area, and that creates a lot of pollutants. So that's just one tiny thing, sort of the transportation aspect of clean energy. Aside from that, a potential idea we literally just thought of today is a countywide climate strike, which would involve like sustainability coordinators from the other districts. But aside from that, we do really want to focus on getting sustainability coordinators because even though the board may not believe that it's feasible right now, we do want it to happen, and we do want sort of our district to follow in the footsteps of more sustainable districts currently. And yeah. Forgot to mention the environmental literacy toolkit, which will be implemented next year.
Okay, well, thanks so much for your presentation. For those on the board, I
To
spent.
the chair.
Oh.
There was one hand up on Zoom. I think it's a member of the committee, but her hand has it's gone down now. So I'm not sure if we want to.
I think the
Sophia
public
by.
comment period is
Okay.
over. Yep.
Sophia Bai is our director, and she wasn't able to make it with us in person, but
Okay, Sophia, if you're part of the team and you would like to make a comment, please raise your Zoom hand now. Okay. So we'll hear the comment from Sophia.
Sophia, go ahead. I think she's having technical difficulties.
Sophia, you should be able to talk now. If you. All right, one more try, Sophia. Talking is currently permitted. Okay, well, I'll just say thank you to you all in your committee. We had a chance to talk for hour in preparation for this meeting, and I'm impressed by all of your commitment and how you came prepared exactly as we discussed, and really appreciated your presentation and preparation. So thanks so much for all the work you've done for the district.
Thank you.
Okay, our next items are the public hearings. So first public hearing is a public hearing and consideration of adoption of resolution 1753, approving engineer's report, confirming diagram and assessment, and ordering levy of assessment for fiscal year 2023-2024 for the Sequoia Union High School District Maintenance Assessment District. Do we have any public comments from? All right,
If you could.
comments? Okay, the hearing is hereby opened at 7:48 p.m. Do we have anyone here wishing to comment at the public hearing? If you're here in the Zoom audience, please raise your Zoom hand. Okay, having no comments, the public hearing is closed, also at 7:48 p.m. Next, we have a public hearing on the 2023-2024 Local Control Accountability Plan, known as an LCAP, for the Sequoia Union High School District. The hearing is open at 7:48 p.m. Would anyone in the live audience or in the Zoom audience like to make a public comment at our hearing about our Local Control Accountability Plan? Okay, seeing no one wishing to comment, the hearing on item 14.2 is closed. And we will next have a public hearing on the East Palo Alto Academy 2023-24 proposed local control and accountability plan. This hearing is opened at 7:49. Does anybody in the live audience or Zoom audience wish to comment on item 14.3, the public hearing for the East Palo Alto Academy Local Control Accountability Plan? Okay, seeing none, the hearing is closed. And next we have a public hearing on the Sequoia Union High School District proposed budget for 2023 to 2024. The hearing is hereby opened at 7:49. Would anyone in the live audience or Zoom audience like to make a comment at the public hearing on the Sequoia Union High School District proposed budget for the 2023 to 2024 year? Okay. Seeing no comments, that public hearing is closed. So now we move to the discussion items, starting with item 15.1, presentation of the Sequoia Union High School District 2023-2024 proposed local control and accountability plan.
Good evening, Superintendent Leach, Board President Ginn, and members of the board. The LCAP before you this evening is the last one in the current 3-year cycle, and as such, this is far from the first time the board in particular and district stakeholders in general have given input to the document. As they are every year, again this year, parents, students, and staff were surveyed for input on the LCAP. Surveys were available in both English and Spanish and could be taken via computer, tablet, or phone. LCAP surveys were open for 1.5 months. Intensive efforts were made to encourage stakeholders to complete the surveys. In both English and Spanish, reminders and support went out via emails, text messages, and parent coordinator contacts. The surveys were open from November 1st, 2022 through January 4th, 2023. I didn't count winter break in that month and a half that they were open. The surveys were completed by 5,122 students, 554 staff members total, classified and certificated, and 2,071 parents and guardians. Over the course of the winter, the district hosted 3 community engagement nights. In the past, an evening had been hosted at each site, but in an ongoing desire for the LCAP to be viewed as the district-wide document that it is, the events were district-wide this year. Geographically, the district intentionally held the events in 3 different venues. In addition to gathering broad input from our general parent, student, and staff constituents, The district works specifically with leadership groups to glean more in-depth feedback for the LCAP's development. On the board background, you will find listed the 22 settings in which input was given. This amount of input is as it should be, since the LCAP works in tandem with governance goals and school plans to keep us moving in the same direction. Also listed, you will find the 5 dates that board has been given updates on the LCAP during this past school year. Should there be any new questions or comments, the LCAP authors, to whom I'm very grateful for their participation in this document, are all available via Zoom to respond. In addition to tonight's public hearing and discussion, the LCAP will be back before the board on June 21st for approval and is due to the San Mateo County Office of Education by June 30th, 2023. The district recommends that at the June 21st board meeting, the board approve the 23-24 LCAP.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for the summary of all that's gone into it and all the times that we have already seen it and had a chance to comment. Given that, do any board members have any comments or questions about the LCAP?
I am going to make a comment because I've been pretty quiet. But something occurred to me as I was reviewing it. So the focus on foster youth that don't have the best outcomes. So I brought this up at an earlier board meeting. I attended the TAY conference last year. And so that's a conference put on by foster youth. And I stayed all day. And at the very end of the conference, I asked a panel of foster youth, what can schools do, particularly high schools? And the feedback was, it would help them if before the first day of school, they could come together and meet the other foster youth on the campus and have one contact. Not somebody that's too busy, not somebody that's in, somebody that, that would be available to them. And so as I was looking at what we do for foster youth, it's often more academic, like tutors, et cetera, correct? So
no,
I know we're not supposed to do the how, but I mean, this was really, it's community feedback, and it's hard to get feedback from that population. And I also think with our other at-risk youth, doing something before the first day of school, something that's not academic, because I believe the non-academic stuff builds confidence and builds academic. And we have kids that don't attend and they're so unplugged, right?
Right.
They're so disengaged, and engagement is one of our issues. So I just wanted to bring that up again, right? Because that was directly from youth in our schools, in our county. And I know that I'm thinking of a school board member that I met was a brand new trustee. It's like when we're out in the community, we can only like toss something in, and it really is up the staff to say, we can use this or not. And I know it's hard. Everybody's so busy. And I know, we just heard from Edith, our staff is exhausted. People can't do one more thing. But if we really want to move the needle with foster youth, that's an idea. It's more social emotional. It's having a connection and having a person that really might help them. So I wanted to just bring that up.
Oh, I appreciate that. I do think that we already have a number of social emotional supports for foster youth. They have free bus passes. They are checked in with. They've got people tracking their attendance and their progress in classes. There's a point per person on each campus. And that said, they're the most at-risk group of students in the country. It's deplorable, the experiences of a good number of these students. So we can always do more. I think right now there are 13 in our district. So even though it's true, people are exhausted, I think that touching base with each of them and making sure they have a safe person to go to on campus before the start of the school year is a great idea.
Get this idea before the first day of school, right?
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I suggested, and we did this once with, it was teen dads, where we took, it was a small group of kids and we took them out to dinner, right?
Yeah.
And we just said, order whatever you want, right? And it just fostered that connection, that communication. And I mean, maybe it's something the board can do, but anyway, just an idea.
I will put it on my Google Calendar for August.
I have a question. So when they come in, are they connected to one person on the campus? Are they connected as a group on a campus, or How does that typically work? Are they
As
just-
far as I know, they are not connected as a group. They are connected with an individual on a campus. But I think that introducing them to that person before the first day of school
Okay,
is a
gotcha.
great idea.
Okay, gotcha.
And we would need to let them know if you come to this gathering, there will be other foster youth there. Because part of the reason they don't know each other is because of
confidential.
the laws about anonymity. But I think it's great to know you're not the only one going through it, but we need for them to get to choose that. But we can do that by inviting them and letting them know other foster youth will be there.
Yeah, and I think CASA would be a good support for you all because they are also doing their strategic plan.
Okay.
So there might be ways that we don't have to do it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about lessening the work.
Yeah.
As I hear Carrie and Edith talk about this, but there might be a way to have a non-contractual relationship where people are really concerned about that. So thank you.
Bonnie, could I comment on that, just on the foster youth? Just to let the board know, this is Alvaro, by the way. We are already doing that with our foster youth. Anybody who enrolls in our district, I get all of the information from the county or the placement agency, and then I share that information with the foster youth liaison. So on the first day when the youth arrives to school, the conversation is always like, hey, we already know all the information that's critical for us to help you succeed in school. Let's focus on school. Let's focus on the supports that you need on campus. If they need a bus pass, that bus pass is normally already available. So we try to provide all the information necessary upfront to the foster youth liaisons, so that, the very first day on registration, everything's already set to go. The challenge is that a lot of the times, because there's a lot of movement with a lot of these students, the paper trail seems to lag from the previous placement. So if a student has an IEP, sometimes that can be a challenge to get the student enrolled right away, because we don't want to enroll the student in the wrong classes. So that can delay the process just a bit, but that's already happening.
But Alvarado, I know that those are more of the tangible, concrete supports.
If we could, I think we should try to focus.
Oh,
on,
sorry.
Like we're getting kind of down in the weeds on a specific point of the overall plan. So I don't have to, if we can. Okay. It's your call. I mean, we're trying to,
You don't have to explain. You heard me stop. Go ahead. And I said that with love. Go ahead.
so I'll just ask me if there's any comments about the local control accountability plan.
We are working on staying on task, so I am okay, Bonnie.
Oh, I mean, I just briefly add, thank you for all the work. I mean, one of the things that, I really agree with, and I think Trustee Dubois says a lot is, A through G might not be the right focus for every student. I've really come to wonder in this district, I feel like we've been so focused on A through G for like 12 or 13 years. Have we lost sight of other things? Because I think, we have tried stuff like this for 12 years. And to me, at least, it doesn't seem to be working for certain groups of students. I wonder if there's more we could push to say, and I don't think it's a problem unique to us. I think this is something across the state where we've seen these type of issues. So, I'm constantly wondering, like, for some students, are there more that we can give to them from school that's not necessarily, oh, you've completed your A through G courses, like whether it be, these programs to unite them, or whether it be, having a sense of belonging or having a sense of purpose as to what you want to do with your life that may not necessarily be tied to A through G. So, that's one of my main things that I think when we come up with our new LCAP, I'd really like to look to is pushing past A through G and not making it be the end all be all that I kind of see it is right now. But, I do like the report and appreciate all the time that goes into making it, because I'm sure the state doesn't make it easy on you.
Any other comments or questions about the local control accountability plan? Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you.
Okay, next is a presentation of the East Palo Alto 2023-2024 proposed local control and accountability plan.
Good evening, Superintendent Leach and Board of Trustees. Good evening, Amika Guillaume, proud principal EPAA. I don't know if Josue has it queued up here. Oh, look at that. Gracias, Senor. I know that we spent quality time in this very same room 2 weeks ago looking at the LCAP. I thought for the sake of keeping it interesting, I will give you a couple of very exciting updates that I think will help make it feel like this was a very inspiring evening. So a couple things. So here we have, oh gosh, it's so huge. Okay, here we go. Okay, as Trustee Nori was suggesting, we did expand our goal number 5 about college and career readiness that I will elaborate a little bit on. And for goal number 1 and 2 with regards to academics, I want to share these awesome photos. College trips are back. So we were able to go down to Southern California and take the students to visit both Cal State and UCs in that area. Our defensive learning is back, which was huge. So thank you to everyone who participated in that. And our Foothill partnership was expanded. So we, you can see the Foothill professor on the bottom left who does the CT engineering. And next year, we're going to introduce kinesiology. And we will continue with what we call our liberal arts, which allows us to expand our very, what Bonnie calls our napkin. When you talk about our master schedule, it's so tiny, it fits on a our post-it note master schedule. But thanks to Foothill, we get to still diversify every 2 years. We have 2 different classes we get to offer. So that is back and expanded. Our graduate profile, which if I would have listened to our team, we would have not even continued because it was way too overwhelming, but we persevered and we have our 5 competencies that we were pushing as part of the defensive learning, which I think is super important because you can see that this is something that will carry them through to their careers one day and successful adulthood and potentially even healthier relationships. This is the competencies with more detail. So this is what guided the defensive learning. And this is super fun. And you'll notice some photos from the Nuestra grad celebration. So thank you again for supporting that because it was absolutely beautiful. It was a moment where families recognized their students. So the class of 2023, 35%, so a third of them have taken college courses and have already started their college transcript. And that means they're saving, you can estimate how much money for themselves and their families. 58% were eligible and admitted to 4-year institutions, and 99% are going on to some kind of post-secondary education where we've actually, again, gotten those beautiful vans we have and brought them to the community colleges and programs and signed them up. To your point, Trustee Nori, only 39% are choosing to attend a 4-year university. I think a lot of them still feel like since they were robbed of their sophomore year, they just need to be home a little bit longer. And 60% therefore will be in community college or vocational programs. So that's our seniors, as you can see here, are beautiful photos. And a couple of fun facts. One of our seniors who's going to UC Berkeley is actually in this awesome program. She's going to spend her first semester in London. How cool is that? I don't think her 10th grade boyfriend's excited about this, but that's just Miss Guillaume going a little too much into details. And 3 of our students are going to be representing their college teams in sports and athletics, which is a first for us. And so they are, some of whom you'll see here on the bottom right, are some of our athletes. They also brought home our very first PSAL North Division Championship this year, which we're very, very proud of. For those who don't know, EPAA was not allowed to be a part of the PSAL for many, many, many years for things that we had nothing to do with and we don't need to talk about, but we made our comeback in such a huge way. We're super proud of that. We also had our first big Pride celebration, which we're also very, very proud of because as you know, the challenges of someone who's LGBTQIA+, especially someone in transition is very, very difficult. And so we've went all in this year, supported a biology class that had very inclusive sex ed. We read the 57 Bus, and we read another book by Janet Mock, whose title is Redefining Realness. in an effort to share the stories and normalize that everyone can be loved. And these stories are beautiful stories about human connection. And we really need to be a better space for all students, and all students means all. So this is our class of 2023. This was our year. These are the lists of the colleges that the students got into. So there's a lot here for all of the seniors that we mentioned before. And I love to share this fun fact. Lucia Gonzalez on the right was our first EPA graduate to go on to LMU. Then she went on to Stanford as a steppy. And now she's a proud homeowner in her hometown of East Palo Alto. So as if the parents weren't already crying when I would take them to her classroom and visit the classroom of Maestra Gonzalez, now to say she's a homeowner. Imagine the change that means for her family forever. So as you know, this is our vision statement. And if you have any questions about the LCAP, I have all kinds of slides here that can hopefully answer them for you. So thank you for your ongoing support of our little school. And we appreciate you all very, very much for helping us feel like we still have a chance to do this hard work, despite many, many obstacles. So thank you.
All right, well, thank you for your presentation, and also thank you for pointing out, like, we were here with you just a few weeks ago and had a chance to review everything. So I'll just open up if any board members have comments about the LCAP. Go ahead, Shawnee's.
I was the only one that was not here, but it's okay. I just have just one feedback for you. I think what would be really great for your school is the return of investment. When you said it was a couple of slides ago, how many students have received a certain amount of credits. I think this is for Tide as well, when you're thinking about funders, but also thinking about how do you report out to parents so they'll understand. And I just looked at the average credit cost for college is $600. So times that by the number of credits that they receive, that's the return of investment. That's how much they don't spend going to a four-year college. So I just thought about that because money speaks to my husband so much when we're talking about savings. It doesn't speak to me that much. I'm like, spend the money on me. But for him, I was thinking, wow, to say the number of credits students have received. I'm thinking about Tide as well, that you have some students that are either getting a certificate or an associate degree, and how much they're saving by going to your schools. That talks clearly what the message is of providing opportunities in high school that will save them a lifelong. The other thing, and talking about education for our students, is there is a term called the social determinants of health, or adverse childhood experiences. And one of the adverse childhood experience that impacts long-term health is quality of education. So if a student has a quality of education, their financial wellness on the other end is the outcome. That's why education is so important, because it impacts the long-term health of stress and diabetes and all this good stuff, because your financial wellness has reduced your stress, and no medication, no doctor can change that unless you change the environment in which a person is living in, how to manage their stress and understand the long run, not just the short run. So I wanted to give you that feedback. You can't put it in an LCAP, so I'm just giving it to you like this. So
I
use it
really
any way you
appreciate it.
want.
Thank you.
Or
I was thinking halfway through, I'm glad this is being recorded because there are a lot of great nuggets there that I will absolutely actually bring to our board meeting for our next foundation board meeting. So thank you for that very, very much, Trustee Stevenson.
Any other board member comments or questions? Okay, thanks so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
The next discussion item is the presentation on Sequoia High School District proposed 2023-2024 budget.
So good evenings. Tonight, I'll be presenting our proposed budget for the 23-24 school year. First, I will do a high-level summary of our projected estimated actuals, talk about highlights from the governor's May revise, and the assumptions or the planning factors we use to build the budget, and then talk about our multi-year projections. So this is a summary of our projected ending fund balance, projected end of the year estimates compared to second interim, which was presented at the March 22nd board meeting. The ending fund balance is projected to increase by $4.2 million. So from 49 million to 53 million. And that is due to additional revenue of 3.8 million and a decrease of expenditures of $417,000. The increase in revenue is from higher than anticipated property taxes, redevelopment funds, SELPA funds, and also our interest income. So our projected ending fund balance of 53.9 million will be our beginning balance for the 23-24 school year. Sorry, my screen is. So this is the estimated end of the year projections for other funds. And as you can see at the last line, all of the funds are projected to have a positive ending fund balance. Hope you're not getting dizzy. So this chart is the component of ending fund balance. So this is comparing what we think will end up the year versus second interim. The restricted ending fund balance has increased because of additional RDA. The assignments hasn't changed from second interim. And also our unallocated amount has increased to 9.8 million compared to the $6.7 million. So I'm going to talk about the highlights from the May revise. The governor's spending plan attempts to reach a balance of protecting existing investments while anticipating continued economic uncertainty that's due from lower state revenue, the postponement of personal income tax, inflation, and bank failures, which will add to the risk of the state economy. Despite the uncertainty, the governor is committed to protect education. He is committed to fully fund the COLA, but it comes at the expense of one-time funds. At the January governor's budget, the governor proposed an increase to the LCFF calculation by 8.13%. However, at May revise, the COLA has increased to 8.22. So in order to fund the COLA, at the governor's May revision, he would reduce the entitlement for both the art, music discretionary block grant and the learning recovery emergency block grant. Another uncertainty is the ongoing Prop 28 funds for art and music. Many districts, including our own, have not budgeted these funds because the level of funding is not yet known. And we are also waiting for additional guidelines from the California Department of Ed. So this chart is showing the planning factors or assumptions we use to build our 23-24 school budget. Our enrollment for all 3 years is flat at $8,512, 12 students. The funded ADA for 23-24 will be, or projected to be, at 7,996. And for 24-25, in 25-26, you can see that our ADA is decreasing. As I mentioned, the statutory COLA for the LCFF funding will be 8.22%, and for the out years, it's a little bit more than 3%. The STRS employer rate will remain flat at 19.10%, but it's still an increase from prior years. And the PERS employer rate for 23-24 is projected to be at 26.68%, and for the out years, it's more than 27%. And the PERS rate has increased from the current year rate, which is 25.37%. So that's an increase to our budget expenditures. The unemployer rates will be decreasing to 0.05%. The current rate right now for 22-23 is 0.50%. Lottery funds is $170 for unrestricted and $67 for our restricted. The mandated block grants estimates are increased by the statutory COLA. Our property tax assumptions are increased to 5% for all 3 years. What's included in the budget is the certificated step and column increase, the classified step and column, and also our health and welfare increase. We're estimated to increase 5%. And for supplies and other operating expense, we are using the consumer price index for our projections. So this slide shows our property tax projections for the current year and the 3 subsequent years. Our current year, the increase is 10%. And for the next 3 years, the increase is 5%. Crystal, do you want to say something about the property tax?
Yeah, I'll address that right now. So when we started working on the budget and we were working on our projections for estimated actuals for current year, which is the 22-23 year, we were looking at a percentage change from prior year close to 10%. So since my arrival here in 2019, I have been, on repeat at the podium talking about how the increase over prior year in percentage is slowly going down. And we have seen that go down. Even as to last year, we are getting closer and closer to our standard 5% projections that we do for property tax over prior year. So when we saw that the calculation was showing end of year projection close to 10%, it was like, okay, what is going on? So we have reached out to the assessor's office and was able to get some pretty good information regarding that 10%, nothing that I'm 100% satisfied with at this time. But what we have come to know about this 10% is that there was basically what I would explain as like a shore up from COVID. Certain individuals being able to file extensions and get waivers just with all of the COVID protections going on. So that I understand that. I'm still, and I can see that pattern throughout the entire San Mateo County. I'm still trying to understand the calculation of how we get close to 10%. So we are still in conversations with the assessor's office. We also will need to know if it is 10% and our projections are 5%, is that 5% based off of that 22-23 end of year projection, or how is that actually going to be calculated moving forward? So I just want to share this information with caution that as of right now, I do not see our increased property projections to go back to what the district has seen in the likes of 11, 12, and 13 and upwards of those years for property tax. So we will provide updates as we get more information, probably closer to August and September when we present the unaudited actuals. Thank you, Christine.
So this following chart is the property tax transfers to the charters that are in our district boundary. So for 23-24, we have been informed that Summit Denali is closing. So the transfer has decreased from 53,000 to 9,000 for the 23-24 school year. In 23-24, in addition to the 8.22% COLA, Everest is projecting a higher enrollment. As you can see, it's pretty significant increase. So we will closely monitor their enrollment as we get closer to the census date and what they have projected for their 23-24 budget. This chart is our assumptions for the redevelopment funds that are not subject to the LCFF deduction. And in the past, the redevelopment funds was used to contribute to the special ed program. But moving forward, we're no longer using the funds for the special ed contribution because these funds must be used for facility construction, remodeling, or deferred maintenance. So next, I'm going to be talking about the 23-24 budget compared to what we think 22-23 end of the year projection. And on the revenue side, you can see that it's a significant decrease of $13 million. And that's mostly because in the 23-24 school budget, we're not budgeting any of the one-time dollars, any donations or grants at budget adoption. On the expenditure side, there's also a significant decrease of $4.2 million, and that's mainly from books and supplies and other operating services and expenditures, and that's because we're not including the one-time dollars in the 23-24 school budget. So we're projecting our ending fund balance would be at $58 million. And this slide is the components of the ending fund balance for the 23-24 school year. I just want to let the board know that the restricted number changed from what's in the board packet. I cut and paste and I forgot to change that column. So the 21 million is for the restricted ending fund balance. And then we have $19 million of assignments. And so that's what's make up our $58 million. Okay. This is a multi-year projection. Okay. So I wanted to focus on the revenue. As you can see, the federal, state, and local revenue remains flat. It's flat funded for the budget year and the 2 subsequent years. But in terms of the general purpose revenue or the LCFF funding, we show an increase, and that's because of our property tax assumption of 5% increase. On the expenditure side, step and column is included. All of the statutory rates then are included, and books and supplies and other services are based on the CPI increase. So for 24-25 and 25-26, we're projected to have a surplus. which will increase our ending fund balance. And this is the proposed budget for our 23-24 budget for other funds, and we anticipate that it will also have a positive ending fund balance at the for 23-24. And any questions?
Okay, thank you for that presentation. Let's see, board members have questions. I know board members have questions. Here, would you like to start?
It's a quick one. I don't know what Summit Denali is. Why do I not know it? Why do I not know?
So
about that?
so they are not within our boundaries, but we have students that attend there.
Oh, is it
and
Summit sends kids to a certain school?
So we have a charter in lieu as well.
I'm sorry.
I don't think I've ever.
So I thought it was a middle school because when I went to visit their site, it's a middle school that's in Sunnyvale. So how do we pay for students to go to?
Because our kids go there. It's almost like a gateway probably, right? Is that right?
Is that how?
We can pull more information and get that back to you with how our charter and.
I thought it was like a middle school and high school, no? Yeah,
So it's so it is a middle school, high school.
yeah, I think it's both.
And then the other thing I wanted to bring up, we're getting a lot of questions about how sites are funded, right? So there were some community concerns about the amount we're spending for consultants, which I think you know. But I've also had some, because of the fundraising that happens at all the sites, and then community members, not even parents, like community members, like, why is it? And I know I forwarded some of these emails to you. Some community concerns about how the money, how the sites get money. And so my answer is it's really complicated, right? I mean, and I don't know whether we need, it's not really a budget, like maybe some clarification or something so that people understand. And I think the question I have, there is money that flows to the sites that's unrestricted, the sort of principal's discretion.
Yes.
Do we readjust that?
There is an inflator, and basically, it's based off of enrollment as well. But all sites do receive a large discretionary fund that they use and sometimes does roll over into future years. A lot of what our foundations fund is really on the staffing side. So when we do staffing, it's, a formula based off of enrollment divided by 27.5. So, not a full body, like 3/4 of half a body. And, so if that school site is really focusing on lower class sizes, if that foundation in collaboration with the principal want to hire an additional counselor. So that's where much of the foundation funds tend to go to, is for additional staffing outside of our calculation.
But what about the district money, the money that our district office, where does somebody look for that in this budget?
So this is a regulatory document. So this is not going to have that level of detail. So my budget book back in 2019, we had that level of detail. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to update it since then. But I'm hoping that next year we can start to bring that back. But if any community member has any questions about what the site discretionary funds are, they're more than welcome to email me and I can get that information. Absolutely.
Is it Christine?
Mhm.
Am I saying it right? Christine, can you go back to where the charters were? Because I just had a couple of questions about that. Excuse me. Is that it?
Yeah, I'm trying to flip around.
Don't worry about it, Christine.
One more. Okay.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we have several charters here. And and I'm not including EPAA because you are part of us. But I'm trying to figure out, I'm still new at this as far as budget. So the cost that we see here is for facilities? Is it for overall costs that we have to, help me understand, Crystal?
Christy, would you like to answer that or would you like me to answer that?
This is the property tax that we transfer to the charters, and it's based on their ADA and also the grade span adjustment, which is from the LCFF calculation.
So because we have charter schools that are within our property boundaries and we're basic aid, the state has us transfer the property taxes versus if you had a charter school within a state funded, the state would directly pay that charter. And so these are obviously going up because the mega COLA that the state has, we budget for that. And then this is usually adjusted through out the year at the interims based off of enrollment. So when I look at this, and I know what our enrollment is, and I know what the projections in the area are, the charter schools enrollments are going down far more quicker than our enrollment is going down. So that will also decrease the charter in lieu payment.
And then for East Side Academy, you said that they get the ADA costs. Do they get any additional costs since they are dependent charter?
Or EPAA?
EPA, who did I say?
Oh, I just was confirming. I
EPAA.
didn't. So EPAA does so they get this form of funding and then they are state funded, and then we because they are a dependent charter that is also under our CBA agreements, we tend to backfill the shortfall. As a state funded district, you can't keep up with that revenue in our salaries.
Okay, all righty. Those are just the questions I have. Thank you.
I actually had a follow-on question on the charter school table. I think part of my question was answered because some of that increase in 23-24 is coming from increased enrollment expectations at Everest. I was just wondering, like, what do we do in terms of monitoring the attendance numbers and kind of maybe if they're overly optimistic or, like.
Yes, and unfortunately, as we will be talking about later in the agenda, enrollment projections are not the same as what they actually certify with the county and what we pull from CalPADS, where the shore up happens later on.
Any other board member questions about the proposed 23-24 budget?
Yeah, I had one more question since I'm new. Is there a target reserve percentage that we're shooting for?
Yes, so the board has policy for a reserve of 8%. 8.
Okay, Christine, thanks so much for that presentation.
You're welcome.
The next item, and I'll just comment for the board that Sophic and I met to prepare this agenda and discuss that perhaps all new courses should be action items and not consent, and just wondering if that's a shared interest of the board. We did put this on as an action item in this case, and if that would be a new board norm. It's something we discussed in agenda planning and made the move to have it here, and just
I have a question, and why did we do that? Why, I'm just
it was
asking.
Sophic and I were preparing for this agenda and made the determination that we would put it on action to discuss this course approval, but not because of this specific course, but just in general, thinking that any new course should be on action. Sophic, you'd like to share your thinking?
Yeah, so I was uncomfortable having course approvals be on consent. I know I knew at first they used to all be action items, at least when I was a student trustee. So, and I think in the spirit of transparency of the community, when we do things like approve new courses, I think they should be action items and I don't think they should be on consent agendas.
Yeah. I wonder if we could have talked about it as a group first, because
Well, this is the first meeting since that happened, and so I'm bringing it up.
Yeah,
So the other option that he could have just pulled it from the consent, and then we would have had the same process of discussing it individually and then acting on it. So our current practice is anybody can pull from consent. So
Excuse me, I don't know that you're wrong, Sophic, but I don't recall that in the past they were action items. That's not my recollection, but I've been wrong before.
I think what's happened for certain courses, we have had presentations. Yeah, would be concerned making this a permanent action item because this is why we have a professional staff. I am not a professional educator. I do enjoy at times when we have the presentations, especially when teachers are.
so no
present.
presentation is required.
Right, but I still don't think that we are the educational experts and that it should not be an ongoing action item, in my opinion. Interested to hear what other people have to say.
We can move along. I just wanted to just share that happened and we don't need to address this necessarily right now. So there's a approval of a new visual and performing arts course at Sequoia High School. Does anybody have any comments or questions about the course?
Oh, I do. I was gonna pull the course item anyways, just to discuss it. And I would like to say, I'm always very happy when our district decides to offer new courses, because I do believe that our students benefit from having a wide variety of opportunities. And I think, one of the populations that I feel like sometimes does get overlooked in our district are students who are looking for more advanced opportunities to excel in subjects that they're interested in. And I think a lot of times some of these families do feel pushed that if their students' needs need to be met, they need to go to a private school. So I do really appreciate any effort the district makes to offer more honors courses, more AP courses, and more IB courses. And I think this is an example of that. And I'm very happy that the district decided to offer this for students. And I think students at Sequoia will be greatly served by having an IB course in theater. So thank you.
Okay, I think the course sounds like a fantastic course and I'm happy to support. Does any other board member have any comments? Motion to approve.
I'll move to approve.
A second.
Thank you. Do we do roll call or, okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous support. Okay, the next item, 16.2, approval of job description for Executive Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Professional Development.
Lower us down a little bit. All righty. Well, good evening, Superintendent Leach, President again, board members, and some of our communities that are still online. Just as a presentation to this, as you know, that we've been looking at job descriptions for a little over a year now since my tenure has been here, in various different categories, whether it's classified, certificated, management. And a big part of what an organization does is look at job descriptions and review them on a regular basis to ensure that they're meeting the essential job functions that the individuals in the positions expect it to do while they're in there. So with that is what we're presenting with this job description here for the executive director position. The last time this was updated was 10 years ago. And within 10 years, things change. In fact, one thing that is on this one that wasn't on a previous one was related to the LCAP. And as you know, as we spent a lot of time, either between tonight or over the time of this year, we spent a lot of time talking about that, but it was not in the original one. The interesting part about this too, 10 years ago, there were only 19 items that were addressed as an essential job function. And one of them I really don't count because it says other duties as assigned. So kind of 18 for the most part. But I want to also point out with this new one, as we did a review of the duties that are currently being done right now and duties that we also will be including in this job description, is based on that time frame and reviewing what's been happening. In this area, not counting sub bullets, we have 37 essential job functions that we were able to take a look at. including different areas such as parent engagement, the LCAP goals, our EL students, our TIPS programs. So it really encompasses a lot of what we do within that position, far more than what it was originally on there. And because of the increase of duties that we're seeing that were put on that position is why we're bringing it forward to the board. It's moving from a director position to an executive director position, again, based on the increased job duties that are currently being conducted within there.
Okay, do we have any public comment about the job description?
I do have one in person. Edith Salvatore.
You heard the presentation. I think there's a good rationale for the executive director position. I just do want to remind the board that you also have job descriptions for the current position director of professional development and curriculum and the previous job coordinator of professional development and curriculum. And I wanted on record that SDTA doesn't object to the creation of the executive director position, but would firmly object to the filling of either of those other positions while the executive director position was filled. And this also gives me the opportunity with 2 minutes and 17 seconds left to let you know that I got to do a little research on our organizational charts that are posted online and comparing them to a district call list from 2016, 2017. At that time, we had 0 associate superintendents, 3 assistant superintendents, 0 executive directors, 11 directors, 1 chief facilities officer, and 1 coordinator in the district for 16 total admin positions at the district office, not including the superintendent. Currently, we have 1 associate superintendent, 3 assistant superintendents, 3 executive directors, assuming this is approved, 8 directors, assuming that the director of professional development moves into the executive director role, 1 chief technology officer, and 6 coordinators for 22 positions. In addition to that, you approved and consult a contract for administration at the Independent Studies Program. So in 6 years, we have increased by 6 and a contracted 7th administrative position just at the district office. This is why my members call me when they see items on the agenda like this and wonder why we need more staff at the district office. Because they don't know that somebody is moving from one position to another. This is why you hear frustration from people about continued administrative spending and the spending on contracts and consultants and away from the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comment? Okay, any board member comments or questions?
Yeah, so I guess my first question is, so who's in this role now? And this isn't creating a new role, this is changing their role to something else?
That's correct. So the current person right now is Victoria Dye. And as we had mentioned, this is not adding another person in there. She's just changing her job description from a director to executive director.
Okay, the only other question I have was when I was reading the job description, it does seem like a hodgepodge of a lot of different things, but I'm curious is where's the overlap? Because I wonder, like, some of these roles seem like the same things that our TOSAs are doing. So I wonder if you could talk more about, like, where is that explicit line between what some of the other people we've hired in their district office are doing versus what this role is for.
So the TOSAs in the Ed Services Department are overseen by the person in this position. I think the most important thing to note about the change in this job description is that before the position did not oversee EL. And now the current coordinator of EL reports to that director. And there's a part-time, a 0.6 reporting to that director by our coordinator of instructional technology. So I see those as the largest components of her job that have changed. It seems like a hodgepodge because she oversees so many things.
And quick, what's the difference between a director and executive director? Is it other than, is it just salary other than title or?
That's it. Well, oh, absolutely. Like overseeing EL and yes, tech coordinator.
I just assume executive director means that other directors report to you. Is that like a
Yes.
definition of it? Yeah.
And then my question, I'm not for sure who to direct it to, maybe it might be Todd. I think there is a ratio that we have to go by, the administrators to students or administrators to teachers. Are we within that?
Yes, we are. Yeah, it's different by each district, but we are within those boundaries.
Quickly, who oversaw EL before we're like right now, before we made this or making this change?
Once upon a time, there was a director who oversaw categoricals and EL. And then that position was eliminated because it went to different places. We moved categoricals in with data and assessment, and we moved EL to a coordinator role. So where our department eliminated a director position that we used to have, and we added a coordinator. That coordinator then in the last couple of years, because we wanted for EL for us to see our students in our early English learner classes as part of a continuum along with the rest of our students. We didn't want to separate the LEP students from the rest of the population and the TOSAs and our reading supports, et cetera. That was moved under Victoria, and that's where it's been for the last couple of years. So while it is certainly true what Edith has said about the growth in the number of administrators in the district office, a directorship went away and was replaced by a coordinator. And now we are proposing that basically that change in salary be applied to an executive director. I don't really know what I would do without this person in my department. The bandwidth of what she undertakes and supervises is astronomical. They deserve to be in an executive level. They've done a lot of great work for this district, and it is a very big job.
So I have a question, just if we're approving a new job description, I assume like with courses, the other ones remain available and something that is there, do job descriptions ever get retired? I mean, just addressing sort of Edith's comment, or is it once it's approved, you just keep having them and more get created, but job descriptions never go away?
So I'll answer that is yes, they can. For the most part, what we do is put them in abeyance. So we have kind of our pool of job descriptions. So if something does open up or we have to change what we're currently doing or doing sometime in the future, we can actually use that job description and change the positions that we have that built out throughout the district. But there are processes that if we feel, as the board feels, and as we present to the board, that there are certain job descriptions that are just defunct, we're not going to use them ever again, then we would bring that job description to the board and ask that for a vote that we were going to basically diminish that job description.
So one of the things that Todd and his team is working on and has been brought to the board before is the updating of job descriptions. So today in cabinet, we talked about 2 job descriptions that have not been updated since 1977 and 1979. So, a lot of times with the updating of job descriptions, there is a lag, right? As responsibilities increase, the regulatory requirements from the state. I very much appreciate Edith's accounting of, and it's always really good perspective, but I think alongside of that, where we validate and where staff needs to be able to have the conversation is what else has changed since 16, 17? What other types of plans, what other types of regulatory documents, and really the shift in the advocacy of local control doesn't necessarily alleviate all of the people outside of the district and the board and our community that we are required to respond to. But I think those are always good conversations for us to have. And we absolutely should be able to tie how these positions are tied back to students and teachers. And this position in particular, 100% supports our teachers as well as our TOSAs. It's a very fabulous department that we are very fortunate to have. Many districts our size have to contract out professional development, and Sequoia does much better as a district where we are creating content and giving it to people within what I like to refer to as our own family. So thank you, Todd.
I had a quick question about that, because one of the things I'm curious when I talk to teachers about professional development, how much of our professional development right now is contracted out versus done in home? Because I assume with last year, like technically the USC thing was contracted out professional development.
So I think it depends on what type of professional development you would be referring to. I mean, we approved a couple contracts tonight. So what we have TOSAs for, what we are able to create inside, where our experts lie, and sometimes we do have to contract out for that. So it depends, but I think as we have seen very recently, again, that when we do contract out, those relationships and content need to be vetted to make sure that they are a good fit for our district.
And I guess the last question I was curious about is under new teacher induction, it talks about RCSD. So does this position do work for the Redwood City School Districts?
That's the Ravenswood City School District, and they have, we have agreed, because they have not been able to maintain a teacher induction program. And because our students, their students are our students, we have partnered with them a number of years to help provide that support for the new teachers in the Ravenswood City School District.
So are they covering a portion of it, or we're just
They're covering a portion of it.
okay.
Okay, I appreciate the discussion and perspective. I think I learned a little bit tonight. It's always fun. I'm very happy to support this position. Any board member like to make a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
A second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the approval of this job description? Aye.
Aye.
You say yes? Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you for bringing the job description, and I guess congratulations. Just a job description, okay. Okay, next is approval of a Board of Trustees regular board meeting schedule for 2023, 2024.
So we, a month or so, maybe 2 months ago, we brought forward a draft of the 23-24 Board of Trustees regular meeting schedule. We did, based off of some comments throughout the board, did make some changes. Also noted in here is 2 special meeting, also known as study sessions, one for the fall and one for the late spring. These dates have been vetted against our holiday calendars. as well as discussed with SDTA and AFSCME as good dates. My question for the board is the one thing we do not have in here would be retreats. And I know that it was discussed that anything that we can pre-schedule as far in advance, it definitely helps everybody's schedule. If we could define how far in advance, then we could just make sure we do that instead of pre-scheduling retreats. As we've known, we have retreated a lot in the last month. I just would like to also share that even if we were to schedule retreats on here, there may still be a need to add additional meetings, whether that be special and or an additional retreat.
And just to be sure, there's 2 regulars 1 week apart in December.
Yes. Because of
CSBA. No, because of CSBA.
The CSBA schedule, yes.
What about CSBA?
What is the CSBA one?
That's why there's 2.
I was just pointing out that there's a meeting on December 13 and December 20, so 2 regular meetings 7 days apart.
Yeah, but is that only for election years? Or what's the CSBA? No, because for election years, you.
The CSBA is at the beginning of December, so between November, but the Thanksgiving and then CSBA, there's no meeting for a while there.
I see.
In looking at this, for December and being 23 year, we could, I believe we could go to 1 meeting for December. I don't think it would actually have to be that long. I mean, the regulatory requirements are first interim by the 15th. So this is, is this an action item? Yeah, this is a discussion item or action item? Okay. We can also recommend changes, or we can also bring back at the next board meeting as well.
Yeah, because that is kind of a lot in December, and it's usually a very busy time of year.
It absolutely is. I think we would be okay removing the December 20th meeting.
Yeah, are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. No, it would be okay.
Because do we not normally have another study session in December? Like I thought one of
So
the.
sometimes, yes, in the past, one of the 2 meetings has been a study session in December. Unfortunately, the dates that have been chosen previously for the study session have also been on days where regulatory items such as first interim must be approved. And since I've been here, we have yet to actually use that meeting in December as a true study session. One of those could be deemed as a study session. And then as long as you are all okay on spending Valentine's night together, I'd also like to note that we have a meeting on February 14th. We just need a quorum. I'll buy you candy, flowers, whatever you need.
Restaurants are too crowded anyway.
Oh, they're fine. We already checked.
But do you want to still,
As long, yeah, for Liz, as long as there's cake.
so did you want to answer that question about how much time we need? Or no?
So I think the first,
To plan a retreat, right? Did you
to,
just-
yeah, so as far as, yes, as far as to plan a retreat, I know that there has been conversation about booking those as far in advance as possible. I My recommendation is to keep retreats off of this schedule. And then when we continue our retreat on Monday and talk about bylaws, potentially we could pencil out what our retreats would look like for.
That's fine.
next
And
fiscal.
I think we've had past boards where people really had inflexible schedules. It was really hard to schedule things. This board seems to be easier. So I would think a couple months out, 1 month to 2 months to
What-
schedule things. if you need to.
I just like my schedule built out as much as possible, just because the kind of job that I have to be around for kids and families.
Yeah.
And so as much as I can put it in the agenda, it versus every couple of months asking off or switching my schedule up so that I can be here. I'm flexible. I try to be as much stuff as I can, but as much forecast I can make is much better for me, for the sake of my personal schedule.
When
So
were
let's
we,
look at the,
when were we,
Crystal's recommendation is that we look at the regular meetings and these 2 study sessions today. And then that we, on Monday, we look at retreats. So it's just in a few days, but then we'll look at retreats.
So my only change recommendation would be to remove Wednesday, December 20th.
Do you want to make a study? Or you want to remove it?
I mean, what would be the intent of a study session in December?
So, well, I mean, the placement of it is probably poor placement even for a study session.
Your recommendation is to approve this without December 20.
Yes.
Okay. Any comments?
I have to have one meeting before the 15th. Is it the first day of Hanukkah? Oh, okay. It's okay, the 6th, okay.
I'm sorry, I got lost because I didn't hear Ida. Something was a Hanukkah and then you said something else. and then she-
Yeah, we were just talking about versus, she asked if potentially we could cancel the 13th and keep the 20th.
Okay.
But unfortunately, we have a regulatory document that has to be approved by the 15th.
Edith, can you send someone in your place so you can celebrate your holiday? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'd like a motion to approve this schedule with the only change being the December 20th meeting is not on it. So the schedule absent the December 20th meeting.
I move that the Board of Trustees approves the regular board meeting schedule for 2023 to 2024 without the December 20th meeting.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Janice. All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimously approved. Okay, the next item is 16.4, approval of facilities use agreement with Oxford Day Academy Charter School.
So when a charter is located within your boundaries, unfortunately, regardless of who holds the petition for the charter, in this case, San Mateo County Office of Ed holds the petition for Oxford Day Academy. The school district within that boundaries is required, if requested, to provide a facility under Prop 39. So the dates of of requesting said facility start on November 1st, and last fall in October, Oxford Day Academy did issue a Prop 39 request for the district to provide a facilities for their charter school. Kind of the high level requirements to do so is they have to have a minimum of 80 in-district students. So as a reminder, charter school students can come from outside our boundaries, but to request Prop 39, they have to have at least 80 of our students. They are projecting 118. Again, as what we previously talked about, projections can be kind of loose. The information that we receive with the Prop 39, especially with charter schools that have a lower enrollment, do cause a question for us to be able to try to validate as much as we can, especially on a Prop 39 request. So we have been successful at negotiating a facilities use agreement with Oxford Day Academy because I am concerned about their enrollment and meeting the 80 student requirement for Prop 39, especially because this request, we had to move an existing program. So we, within this facility use agreement, will be receiving their CalPads data, which will allow us to do address verification each fall. And it is a 2-year agreement. And so in November of 24, they would be required to submit an additional Prop 39 request if they wanted to continue to use the site and they met the enrollment requirements for the 25-26 school year. So during the negotiations, we have settled upon a 2% of their unrestricted general fund budget that they will pay. They will be required to cover all utilities costs. The property still is owned by us. We are required to maintain the property, keep up deferred maintenance, and such. So the existing program that was there, its official name is Satellite Plus. We just call every program there Green Street because the property is on Green Street. So Satellite Plus, we were able to find a new home for them, and we just kind of shuffled some current programs around. So we are still able to house this program. Unfortunately, due to size, we won't be able to grow this program probably over the next 2 years. And then we will reevaluate at the end of the term of this agreement. So this facility use agreement, this actually is an item that can be approved on consent because we don't really do these that often. I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to understand and have a potential discussion about.
What happens if they don't have 80 students this fall?
Because this is a 2-year agreement, they could potentially fall below the 80 students this fall. What is important to keep in mind about charter schools is that, I mean, they're state funded, so they need that they need that enrollment to survive, right? It's not a business, but their finances offer more, act more like a business. That's also why we start to see, as enrollment falls, we start to see the summits close campuses. We are also closely watching our other charter schools because enrollment in charters and in regular school districts is significantly declining.
And what is ODA's current enrollment and kind of their enrollment trend?
So, I mean, that is an area of concern. When they submitted this petition back in the fall, they were anticipating 118. When we spoke with San Mateo County Office of Ed to find out where their enrollment was, it was currently in the low 90s.
Are 80 of them are students?
It does appear that 80 of them, of those 90 are students. So as like where we sit right now, we still have the requirement.
Okay, any other questions? A motion to approve?
I move that the Board of Trustees approves the facilities use agreement with Oxford Day Academy.
Thank you, Amy. Do I have a second?
I second that.
Thank you, Shanice. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye. I'm holding back all my questions.
Okay, unanimously supported. The next item is 16.5, adoption of resolution 1753, approving engineer's report, confirming diagram and ordering levy of assessment for fiscal year 2023 to 24.
This type of resolution, and what I refer to as like a gift from our community to us, with the opportunity to levy these taxes, kind of mimics how much you see the LCAP. So you see this item several times, starting in late winter up until the approval of this resolution. So this resolution, upon adoption, will allow us to levy the assessment for the following fiscal year.
Okay, does anybody have any comments or questions? A motion to approve?
I have a motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
Roll call.
Oh, sorry, we have a comment.
Resolution.
Oh, thank you, Laura. Roll call.
Trustee Nori,
Yes.
trustee Ku,
Yes.
trustee Dubois, Vice President Stevenson,
Yes.
President Ken.
Yes.
Motion adopted.
Thank you for catching that procedural issue there, Laura. Okay, our next action item is 16.6, also resolution, adoption of resolution 1754, requesting the Board of Supervisors of the County of San Mateo establish a tax rate for bonds to be sold during fiscal year 2023-24.
So with the passage of our most recent general obligation bond back in November of 2022, as we are gearing up, you recall that you certified the election, I believe, last month. And so this is kind of gearing us up for potentially a bond sale in the fall. And by doing and approving this resolution, it does allow the county assessor's office to kind of earmark some of the money on the estimated sales that we would have for the first series, which actually reduces potentially the capitalized interest, which of course results into a savings to our taxpayers.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Do I have a motion? Any comments or questions or any public comment on this resolution? Okay, any board member comments or questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Shawnee's. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Amy. Roll call vote.
Trustee Nori,
Yes.
trustee Ku,
Yes.
trustee Dubois,
Yes.
Vice President Stevenson,
Yes.
President Ken.
Yes.
Motion adopted.
Okay, thank you. That concludes our open session agenda. We did not conclude our closed session items, so the board will be returning to closed session.
Do we have I noticed that not on this agenda where we talk about what to put on the next agenda.
I was going to ask that too. When do board
So we're not
members
doing
discuss
that
this?
anymore.
We can maybe talk about a retreat. We kind of dropped that.
Oh, it wasn't in my use our comments. It was all packed in.
Yeah,
one, but
it was future agenda items, which we had decided at one of our retreats during our parking lot exercise that the parking lot items would be the future agenda items. So my recommendation would be for us to revisit that conversation on Monday.
Yeah, because.
Okay, let's revisit on Monday as part of our retreat.
Yeah. Okay, because I missed that already. Thanks.
Okay.
I had the same question. We're so aligned.
Okay, so we're going to return to closed session. Thank you, everyone.
Is there anything to sign, Laura? Should we sign before we go in?